Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name's Nastasia, and today I am doing a Q&A, which I haven't done kind of ever on my channel. I've done like kind of ways to get to know me and stuff like that, but never like a Q&A where you guys send me your questions, and I'm really excited. Also, I have an entire empty container of ice cream. I should be ashamed, and I'm really not, so that's a question nobody asked, but if you're wondering if I can eat an entire carton of ice cream on my own, I can. I'm gonna get right into it. You guys ask some amazing questions, and before I do, if you end up liking this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on a video every time I post. I have them all here like written down on my computer, so I'm gonna read from there, and I have quite a few. Have you ever faced anxiety, and how do you deal with it? Yes. So I have a few videos on my channel about anxiety and depression anyway. I have a playlist which I'll put right here for you. But I do have anxiety, depression kind of like interlocked, but it is more driven by anxiety than depression. And yeah, I talk about it in some videos, but how do I deal with it? It's kind of different every single time, but the main things that I do are, like, obviously a big thing is my faith with Jesus. Like, it helps me so much because it actually gives me hope and stuff on the hard days, but also I find that for me personally, being productive helps me. Doing things and trying to feel like I got a lot done in a day helps me. The winter months are especially hard just because the sun sets so quickly, but some like productive things, waking up early, stuff like that, reading books, getting some really good friends around you, and just surrounding yourself with people. And also YouTube helps me so much, honestly. I do it for you guys, but I also do it for me because being able to produce content, put it out, and like talk to you guys, feel like I made something, created it, and that it's mine, like, is so amazing. So that's usually how I deal with it, but also having, like, you have breakdowns, you know, and you cry, and crying is good, and having a little, like, having things like coping mechanisms is good. Next question, what do you do for a living? And then another person said, what job do you do? Always wondered. So I graduated last May with my undergraduate degree in politics and policy. So I studied government, but currently I'm looking for a job, but I would like to make YouTube my full-time job at some point, and then be able to branch off from there as well, and not give up YouTube, but be able to have other platforms, maybe writing books, maybe doing a podcast, something like that. What's your favorite psalm? Oh man. I don't really know, honestly. Like, I'm working on the Psalms right now, and so it's a little bit difficult. I'm trying to think. I think it's in Psalms where it talks about how God collects all of our tears and keeps them in like jars, basically, and He knows of every single one of our like heartbreaks and everything like that. That's like a specific verse, but I think that's one of my favorite verses in Psalms because for somebody who is so emotional and like sometimes feels like, am I the most emotional person in the world? Like, I know that God cares, and He keeps every single one of my tears, and He cares just as much as I do, more than I do, about what I'm going through. So probably that, if it's not in Psalms and if it's in Proverbs, I'm sorry. What are your favorite drinks and foods? Oh, I love this question. I love talking about food. Favorite drinks. I really love like fresh juice. I love juice in general, like orange juice and stuff, but I love fresh juice. I got a juicer for Christmas, and like, I don't think green juice or anything is gross. I think it's so good, and if you put any kind of apple or anything in it, it just tastes amazing. So I love those, and I also love like milkshakes and stuff. I'm not super into pop. If you're from somewhere else, you call it soda. I call it pop because I'm from Ohio. But if I do drink it, it's usually either cheer wine, because I live in the South now, root beer, or Dr. Pepper, but I really like cheer wine and root beer the best. And food-wise, I love salmon a lot. If we're going like healthier, I love avocado on anything. I love Italian food in general, so I love pasta and like cheesy things and stuff. I also really love fruit, like a whole lot. I could probably eat fruit like all day, every day. Are you planning to travel anytime soon? I love the idea of traveling, especially since I'm like at that age, like 22, where you just want to explore the world and not give a care. But right now I am saving up money. There's some things I have to pay for, my student loans, a new car, stuff like that, and save up just for the future and stuff. So I'm hoping one day to be able to travel and stuff, but right now, no. When I do travel, I would love to go to like Europe. I'd love to check out like Switzerland, and I would love to see New Zealand and Australia so much. At what age did you get baptized? Love you. Love you too. I got baptized actually in my freshman year of college. Like growing up, I honestly I was kind of scared to get baptized just because I was like, everybody's gonna be watching me at my church and everything, and like I felt embarrassed for some reason. Like I loved the Lord, but I don't know, I didn't. And then when I went to college, like my first few weeks there, I made so many amazing friends so quickly. And they were going to do like a campus-wide like baptism. If you haven't been baptized, you're more than welcome to do it and stuff. And it was so much fun. And there was just singing and worshiping, and it was amazing. It was exactly what I wanted. So I got baptized at 18. If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be? I would say creative, loving, and adventurous. Those are the ones I would say. Next, are you an extrovert or an introvert? So I am an introverted extrovert. So deep down, I am extroverted. I do get my energy from like other people and like being around people, and it really like peps me up and stuff. But a lot of times when I am around people who are more extroverted than me, I get very introverted, and I do the opposite. And also when I'm around people I don't know necessarily, I will be more introverted at first. It doesn't take long for me to get out of my shell, but at first, like if everybody knows each other except for me, I'll be more introverted. What's the most challenging thing as a Christian? I think the most challenging thing, honestly, for me, is people thinking I'm something that I'm not. Because no matter what, you're going to be faced with that as a Christian. Because there are some Christians who are very, very legalistic and not necessarily focused on a relationship with Christ. And so if they see you being anything less than perfect, they think you are a false prophet, or you're like you don't really love Jesus and all of that. And so that puts you down. And then people who are not believers at all, they will see you like standing up for something you believe in, or even if you're not trying to make like a movement or something, in a certain direction, but if somebody asks your opinion and it's different from theirs, a lot of times they'll be like, wow, you're an awful person, just because it has to do with your faith and you can't really revert away from that. I would say that's the most challenging thing. It's also very challenging to have anxiety and depression as a Christian, because it is so common for people, especially in the church. Not always, there have been some amazing people, but once in a while you get these people who will say, you're anxious because you don't trust God enough, thankful enough. That's really, really hard, especially when it's like a chemical imbalance in your brain. To continue to have faith when it seems like your prayers aren't getting answered. Also, how do you get excited about reading the Bible? And then another question said how to not give up when your prayer isn't heard. So I'm assuming that kind of means like when you feel like you haven't gotten the answer you're looking for yet. Honestly, I would say looking back, every time that I have been frustrated because I haven't gotten either an answer I wanted, or it feels like God isn't talking back or something like that, or he isn't working the way I expect him to, I look back and I know that it's all for a reason, either to slow me down, to make me listen harder to him, or because he's protecting me from something. And so I think the best thing to remember is the silence is for a reason. Then also, how do you get excited about reading the Bible? It's something that you're probably not going to be immediately excited to do, but you have to form a habit of it, and you have to keep going, and it will change something in you, and that will make you excited because you will see things differently. People will notice a difference in you. You will realize things that you're like, holy crap, how is this so true? And it's super cool that way because it's living and breathing. It really is. How to not rely on a guy for your self-worth. this is hard, and I can make an entire series of videos about this. How to not rely on a guy for your self-worth. Honestly, this isn't the answer you're going to want to hear, but sometimes what God will do is show you how much you're relying on a guy for your self-worth, take it away, and then you'll learn how to not rely on a guy for your self-worth. But if you want to try to skip that process, I've been through it several times in my life, and I would say you really have to start understanding your relationship with Christ first and how much he is in love with you. And then when that happens, it really doesn't matter if a guy is in your life or not in your life, because no matter what, you have God who's freaking in love with you. And you're just kind of like, oh, cool, like, I'm glad this guy loves me, but Jesus loves me. And so that helps a lot, but I know that's easy, like, that's easier said than done to just be like, oh, love Jesus, and, you know, like, that's hard. So I would say some practical steps are also, you need to know who you are without a man, and a lot of times that means taking a purposeful, like, rest season of not being with any guy, like, taking an actual, like, determined step to not be in a relationship right now. I'm not saying break off your relationships, but, like, if you're already single, like, just take some time and be like, nope, I need to figure out who I am first and really love who God made you first. What are your thoughts on praying in tongues? I do believe in praying in tongues. I have a couple friends that do, but I do believe that when you speak in tongues, you should only speak out loud in tongues in public if you also have an interpreter. Otherwise, I believe praying in tongues is a thing that you can do anytime by yourself, and a lot of times that's the Holy Spirit speaking through you to God. Do you have any siblings? And somebody else said, do you have any brothers or sisters? Yes, I have an older brother. He is 11 and a half years older than me. And so, yeah, we actually look super alike, which is so funny. But I have one brother. That's it. When did you first become a Christian? Also, I love your channel. Thank you so much. I love that you're a part of it. I grew up basically a Christian. Like, I can't remember ever not knowing about Jesus. So my mom made a point that when I was very, very, very young, like as little as I could be, that she'd be praying with me, reading the Bible with me and stuff at night. And I knew I've never not known who Jesus is. But when I really gave my life to Christ, I consider it really like freshman year of high school, because that's when crap hit the fan in my life. And I just really ran to Jesus. And like, I would say I was like a Christian before, but I wasn't following Christ. Does that make sense? Like, I considered myself, like, I believed in God, but I wasn't really giving my life to Jesus until my freshman year of high school. Celebrity crush. It will and always will be Dylan O'Brien. I have always had a crush on Dylan O'Brien. He is so freaking cute. And honestly, if I could marry somebody that looks just like Dylan O'Brien and just loves the Lord, that'd be so good. As a dog or cat, what animal would you want to be your pet? So I've always wanted a quokka so freaking bad. They are those little kind of like squirrel-like things in like Australia that always smile all the time. You need to look them up. They're amazing. All right, dealing with doubts in your faith, ? So I don't know if that means like am I or how to deal with it. Am I? No, I'm solid in my faith. I always joke that I'm a little bit of a quitter sometimes, but the one thing I've never quit is Jesus. But if you are dealing with doubts in your faith, I understand it can be very hard. It's a cruel world sometimes. And when you are, it's literally there's a verse that I think it's Peter, who I think Jesus says, like, do you believe? And Peter says, yes, Lord, help me with my unbelief. Or something like that. I'll try to have the verse right here if I can find it. But it's something like you acknowledge, yes, I do believe, but I'm also human and I'm struggling sometimes. I think that is the most accurate, realistic portrayal of us as followers of Jesus sometimes, is that it's like, yes, I do, but help my unbelief, because life is hard and it can be really, really rough sometimes. So I think acknowledging that you have doubt sometimes, but still knowing that deep, deep down you're like, he's real, he loves me, and this too shall pass. What do you think about listening to secular music? Do you think it's okay or not? ? couple people asked me that kind of question. So this is one of those gray areas, I think, in the Bible. You have some Christians who only let their child listen to Christian music, if not like very specific Christian like hymnals or something. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that's some of it. And then there are some families that don't restrict at all. So I think it's a heart thing. Like, for me personally, I tend to get really sick of some of the songs on the radio because so many of them are about sex, drugs, cheating on your girl, cheating on your guy, wanting somebody else while you're with somebody else, and what's even to live for, talking about like all this stuff. And like, just, I don't know, it's just like so, like, yeah, it's immoral, but also like it's just like a downer, right? Like, I want something a little bit happier. But then there are also songs, like one of my favorite songs recently is by someone named Flora Cash, and I've been listening to it on Spotify like on repeat. And there's really nothing bad about it. There's no curse words. There's like, it's just kind of like a melancholy love song about a breakup or something, or about something like that. And like, I think that's okay. So I think it just kind of depends, because there are Christian songs that I adore, like Christian bands that I adore, and their music is better than anything I could listen to on the radio. But there are also Christian bands that are so cheesy. Like, let's be honest. Like, I can turn on the radio and hear 2 notes and know if it's a Christian song or not, because sometimes they are the most unoriginal, repetitive things that like, you're like, this isn't even a good song. And so I do have an appreciation for the arts. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with secular music as long as you are aware of what you're doing. Like, if your heart doesn't feel right about it, don't listen to it. All right, advice for people telling their faith to a non-Christian family. That's really tough. And my heart goes to you, because I've had the blessing of always growing up with a family who believes in Jesus, but I've also had like situations, like people who are close to me in my family who they say they're Christian but they don't act like it, so when you try to confront them they get very angry and stuff. I would say advice for it, if it's a family who, like, your family just doesn't believe but they're kind of like, whatever, like, believe whatever you want, then I would make it clear to them how important it is to you, and be like excited about it and want them to be excited, and they'll probably be supportive even if they don't believe too. But if it's somebody who maybe they believe in a different religion, or they are very, very anti like Christian, that can be a little scarier. And I would take it easy and just, be like, I want you to know I love you. This isn't trying to be an attack or anything, but this is my life now, and it's a decision I've made. If you are over 18, you can, pull the whole, I am an adult. I am going to make this decision. If you're under 18, that's a little trickier, because somebody might, be like, my roof, my rules, or whatever. And it might be something where you have to kind of praise the Lord in secret, which sucks. Before, to ask other people you trust to pray before you talk to them. Where's your dream place to live? This is hard. If I could take like my closest friends and family with me anywhere, I'd probably choose like Hawaii or something, or maybe like somewhere beautiful in California, or maybe I would like to stay in America just because like I love America, but I also, I don't know, I love the idea of going to Ireland or Scotland or New Zealand or something, so I don't really know. What is your favorite verse in the Bible and why? My life verse is Daniel 3:18, 17. So King Nebuchadnezzar is about to throw them in the furnace unless they bow to the the big statue of him, and they refuse to because it's a false idol. And they are saying in 3:17, we know our God will save us from this fiery furnace, and he can save us from your hand. And 3:18 is saying, but even if he does not, we still will not bow to you. And that is the perfect picture of love and faith to me, because they are faced with burning alive. And they literally say, we know God can save us. And they have that belief, they have that full belief that he will and can. But they're saying, but for some reason, if he doesn't, he's still God, he's still good, we still love him and we won't bow to you. Alright, what is your view on modesty? I have a whole video about this, so I'm going to put that right here, but to make it as short as possible, I'm just going to say, like, I believe that there are boundaries, like hard boundaries for certain things, and then there are also like gray areas where it's kind of like, can I wear a bikini? Can I not wear a bikini? And I talk all about that in the video. But it comes down to, I think we need to be more loving as Christians and not as legalistic, judging other people, and worry about how God sees us first and how our heart feels about it. Do you know anything about Seventh-day Adventists? So I don't know if this was supposed to be a question for the video or just a question for like me in general to answer, but I'll answer it here. I don't know much. I had a friend who was back in like middle school, early high school, and honestly, I don't want to be like offensive. I don't really know much. I think it's the one where they have church on Saturday because that is like technically like the seventh day for them or something. I believe it's Christian, but I'm sorry, I don't know much about it. Alright, favorite Christian YouTuber you think is underrated? I have to talk about my friends. So my friend Hannah Denton, she has a Christian channel. She's one of my best friends here in Nashville. She's super underrated. I love her channel. It should be so much bigger than it is, and I love her. Favorite Christian band / artist? I have a couple. I have always loved Need to Breathe. They've been one of my favorite bands for a long time. But other than that, I really love Hillsong United. I know there's some controversy around them, but I love their songs, and they freaking hit me so hard. And who else? I love a lot of songs that Bethel Music comes out with. Which is more easy, picking up a Bible and reading it, or prayer, and why? For me, reading a Bible is easier. I've always been somebody who just really loves reading. Prayer can be difficult because I get very, very lost in my thoughts sometimes. And sometimes I can get myself in a doubt place where I'm thinking, like, what's the point, blah, blah, blah. But both are so important. But I do love reading the Bible, I think because I love learning so much that I know every time I pick up the Bible, I'll learn something new. All right. Do you know of anyone who dated a non-Christian that came to know Christ? Again, I don't know if this was just a question for my video or a question for like this video, but either way, I've known some, but I will say I've known more people who they've ended up marrying a non-Christian or dating a non-Christian, and it ended very badly. My advice would be don't even run down that rabbit trail. If you know they're not a Christian, don't date them. Maybe just be friends with them, see where that goes and stuff, but you should never date somebody with the purpose of changing them or converting them. Okay, and the last question, easy one. What college did you go to? I went to Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. Woo! All right, guys, that is all the questions for today. I'm stoked. Thanks for sending me all your questions. Always feel free to send more. And that was fun for me. I'm glad you guys asked them. Always feel free to leave comments down below, and I will see you guys next time. I love you. Bye.